like slides, or do you want to share your screen? Maybe you can try doing that as well, so that we confirm everything is working. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for making time to join us. Today we'll be discussing network security, which I think is it's a very important domain in cybersecurity in general, because I think we'll be dealing with networks all through and understanding network. I know maybe some of you have done a unit, or maybe you've even done for courses on networking. So actually, I think a very funny story is my passion for security actually grew from doing networking for a while. So I would say it's a really good basis to get started in cybersecurity. And yeah, so maybe Joshua, you can try sharing your screen, if you'll be projecting your screen, that is, so that you can confirm everything is working as it should be.
Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, in regards to network security, it's a really good basis since you'll be dealing with network. Everything right now, I believe from everything being interconnected is how IoT came to be, which is a domain for that, IoT security. So network security helps you protect network. I don't want to take over the session, so I'm just trying to buy time. Okay, perfect. I think everyone can see his screen. Perfect. So maybe Joshua, you can just get started. You can introduce yourself, then you can start.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm really hoping you can hear me. So my name is Joshua Hosana. I'm a student. I'm a student at ZTech, taking Bachelor of Information in IT. So basically today we shall talk about the concepts. As network security is wide, we shall just talk about the concepts of network security and management. So with that, I think I can complete the intro part. Yeah. Moving, I think, is it okay if we just begin?
Yes. You can begin now.
Okay. So, basically, as you know, what a computer network is, we also have the network security part and network management part, because you can just have a network but its management and its security are kind of hard on you. So we shall talk about the basics first concerning network security. So with network security, it's just the protection of the underlying network infrastructure from unauthorized access, misuse, or theft. That means you are securing your network. You're securing your network, and the main goal is to maintain the the CIA information thread. That is the aspect of confidentiality, the aspect of information being having integrity, and the information being available at the time of need. So with that, we can just summarize that network security is basically to maintain the CIA information triad. And with the aspects of the CIA triad, we can also have the basic importances of reducing data loss, risk sabotage, and data theft, and helps to achieve network stabilization and a good network performance. Yeah. So I think that's a good place to kick off. Yeah. Perhaps if there is anyone who has a question in that slide, you can just push in. Okay. So we can move to network management. So with network management is the process of administering and managing computer networks. This entails mainly the procedures, the methods, and the tools that you need to effectively operate and administrate and maintain a computer network. Yeah. So the main aims of network management, we have 5 categories. That is fault management. That is, in case a network fails, you can easily diagnose and troubleshoot a network to check where the problem is. We also have the configuration management. That is the aspect of authenticating the users and the kind of services that they're likely to use. We have the performance management. Now, with performance management, you have to ensure that the services that the network that are being shared in that network are effective and they are running as in they are not that slow, they're efficient, and yeah. Security management, it goes hand in hand with the configuration management. Then accounting management, it's where the network, as a network administrator, as you are managing the network in that aspect, you're ensuring that all the logs, for example, in the network that someone is accessing, or in a network that you're managing, logs are constantly kept. This will aid in purposes for the network auditing, just in case something happens. Yeah. So as you have explained before, it covers the procedures, methods, and tools. It covers the procedures, methods, and tools needed to effectively operate, administrate, and maintain a network. So I think we have explained these aspects. The aspect of fault management, you just identify and fix an error. Configuration management, yeah. Performance management, it entails improving the network's efficiency. Security management involves authentication and authorization of users to allow access to certain network resources and procedures. Then we have accounting management, keeping accounts of how the network and its resources are being used. You can follow that URL. It has explained, it has been more explanative. It has been, hey, it has explained, it has explained more that. So as we have talked about previously, we had the aspect of security, network security, getting its goal to be to maintain the CIA information thread, the network management aspect, and now we can go to network security and management. So network security and management, it is basically into enforcing the triple A principles of a network, that is authentication, authorization, and accounting. So allow me to just stop sharing the screen a bit. I open another slide. Hello. I hope you can hear me, Bado.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We just can't see your screen yet.
Okay. out of there. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the basics concepts of AAA. That is the concept of authentication, authorization, and accounting. So this mechanism, as a network administrator, it will help you to provide a management mechanism for network security. That is, for example, step one, a user, before connecting to a network, that is, a user needs to identify themselves. That is user identity. So it will require a user to enter details such as the username and the password. And there are some instances where a user can be requested for more than just a username and a password. You can also be asked for your employee number or whatever that has been specified. Then after the user has identified themselves, the user is authenticated. That is checking of the credentials that the user has entered, if they are correct, in the attempt of accessing a particular network resource. Then you have authorization. Now, after the user has identified themselves, he has been authenticated. Now authorization comes in. Authorization, now here the user is with the credentials that the user has given, with the credentials that the user has fed into the system, it will determine whether the access to a particular resource is granted or denied. That is, for example, if an organization has various departments, we are using this instance, an organization has various departments. For example, the finance department, we have you can say the admissions department. So we cannot allow a user from, let us say, another department of, we can say sports. We cannot allow a personnel from sports to access maybe details concerning the IT department. Now that's where authorization comes in. It determines whether access to a particular resource is granted, or if with the credentials that the user has provided, a particular resource that he needs to access, he is given to. Now with that, we move to accounting. Accounting, basically, it will check the records access information. That is, whatever the user does in the network, it will keep the logs of what the user is doing or what the user has done. So, for example, now this, with an instance, for example, using a Huawei router, the AAA architecture, assuming you are using you are an administrator, and this we have many routers here. The AAA architecture is installed, it's located in that router that you want to that the user, that the AAA mechanism is implemented. For one, we can say that he has access to particular details. You can say that user one at domain one. Now this domain one, for example, is the finance department. Now this the accountant. Then user two at domain two, we can say the user is a games teacher. Then user three at domain C, we can say that is a HOD of a particular department. Now these three, they have particular rules. They have particular rules that are installed that are predefined in the NAS server, that is in the router by the user admin, by the network administrator. Yeah. Hapo nimeenda mbio ama ni aje? Are we okay with that? Ama nimeenda mbio sana. Wow. Acha tu hope tuko sawa. So I think the rest explains itself. Now, with the three mechanisms of authentication, authorization, and accounting, there are various mechanisms of authorization modes, authentication modes, and accounting modes. So with the authorization, we have an authorization method. Now, okay, so you are a network administrator or a network manager. You are managing a network. You'll have to follow the concepts, these three concepts, which will act like a blueprint of what you want your network to look like. Okay, yeah, thank you. So now these modes, you can have an authorization, authentications, that is where an authenticated users have unrestricted access to a network. Now with this method, it is rarely used because of the security flaws that it imposes. For example, you can just have an admin, a super admin, in the instance of maybe you are the CEO of an organization, or maybe a CEO of an organization can be given such an yani the guy is trusted much more with the company or with the network, such that the only thing that he'll need to enter is the username, and then all the rest, he'll have access to everything. That is an authorization. You have unrestricted access to a network or particular resources that are being shared in a network. Then we have local authorizations. Now, local authorization is where users are authorized based on the domain configured in the NAS. Assuming this is our router, then we have a user 1 at domain 1. Now, with the credentials that are installed, that are predefined, or with the credentials that are configured in the NAS server by the admin, the user will log in or will have access to the network depending on the credentials that the person has, or the user, or the what can we say, or the administrator that has created in the NAS server, in the NAS server. Then we have a remote authorization. Now, with remote authorization, this is with the name as it states, remote authorization. We can say that instead of this server being locally located, we can have it be we can have it located in sort of a cloud in such a way that, for example, instead of just logging in through the router and with the NAS server that installed in the router being used, instead of authenticating the user locally, the credentials are stored remotely in a NAS server. Yeah. Now that is basically the concept of authorization. Now, with the same authorization technique, remember we have the 3 A's: the authorization, the authentication, and the accounting. With the same concept of authorization, authentication will also take place. Now with the first authentication, as non-authentication, with the concept of non-authorization, it also applies with non-authentication. The users are fully trusted to an organization or a network, surely. Then local authentication, just the same concept, but now with the authentication aspect, and also remote authentication. Now, don't worry about this radius or HW TACAC just because it's meet with the Huawei router. We can also have Cisco routers or others. Then we move to accounting. Now with accounting, it monitors the network behavior, how a particular user has used a particular resource in the network, and how a particular user has used particular resources in the network, and how things have been done in the network generally. So we have now, apart from with the two of the modes of an accounting and remote and local, but now with accounting, we only have non-accounting and remote accounting. So non-accounting, users can access everything and no log is generated, which is not advisable, I can say. Yeah. Then with remote accounting, aside from using this Radius and HW TACAC server, we can also use cloud to store the logs of how the networks are being used, of how the network is used, or how the network resources have been used. I think that is where the AAA method of accounting, authorization, and authentication schemes apply. So we can have a AAA implementation with this diagram. That is the user, the NAS, and the Radius server. That's just an example. So the instance will enter at an instance, a user will enter a username and a password. Then the NAS server will access the request to the NAS server. Then the NAS server will respond back depending on the action that, depending with the credentials that are stored in the server, it will respond back. Then the user will be notified of the results. Immediately, a user has been authenticated or his credentials are correct, then accounting start request will begin, and accounting start response will begin. Now the NAS server will send an accounting start request to account on how the user is using the network, and then backward, from the server, the Radius server, accounting start response will begin. Now this, and then the sharing of resources begins. So for example, if you accessed particular things, everything will be accounted for. If you want to leave the network, then or you went or you've gone offline, the accounting requests will stop. The NAS server will send an accounting stop request, and then back the Radius server will stop. Will send an accounting response or acknowledgement that indeed let me stop. Then the user will be notified of the completion of the network access. So with relation to the AAA techniques, with the AAA principles, we have another principle of network management that is based on use of access control lists. Now, access control lists is definitely, it entails it's a list of statements or rules that will enable that will depending on the numbers that have been that have been given by a particular rule. It will allow either a particular IP address, a particular port, a particular service, or depending on what the network administrator has placed, both of these which are installed in the NAS server for a user to use, or a particular, we can say what? Surely. We can say, let us use this example. So for example, we have an access control list number 2000. Now, these rules, for instance, if you're using a Huawei router, you'll have to name them. Like, for example, rule 5, but they increase in that order 5, 10, 15. So we have a rule that will deny packets from this source IP address. And we have a rule 10 that will deny source from this other IP address. Also, we have a rule 15 that will allow, that will permit packets from this source address. So it's basically like that. And depending with that access control list number, we can also use with the same technique. They're not limited to access. They're not limited to IP addresses only. You can also incorporate or involve, we can say, ports or services that a network is having. Hapo niko na story mingi. Let me kidogo hapo. I think bado tuko pamoja. Ama nimeacha mtu nyuma. I really hope tuko pamoja. Kama tuko pamoja, unaweza uka reply tu hapo kwa chat bana. Nione kama najiongelesha solo kwanza. Kama tuko fiti, you can just reply. You can just reply hapo kwa chat. Kama hujaelewa part, I can repeat it. Moving on, we can continue with the presentation, with the slides. Now we have explained the aspect of network security and management, the the 3A principles. So it's good, like a network administrator, as you move in, you implement the 3 principles. Now going on, we have just a bit. We have the common security issues. The common security issues, we have MAC spoofing. MAC spoofing, it entails the changing of the MAC address of a network device, especially the network card, as a result, vile tu imesema hapo, anataka can redirect data sent to a device, to another device to gain access to this data. Let us use this diagram. Let us use this diagram to explain that principle. Let us use this diagram to explain that principle. Assuming that I'm a legitimate user with this MAC address, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we have a router, which, for example, as a network admin, you have configured, or you have configured. Or you have
Umeenda wapi kwa?
Hi guys.
Hi, Nancy, we can't hear you.
I think the speaker dropped off. I'm audible.
Kind of. Oh, okay. So in the chat, John has let us know that the guest is experiencing a network issue, but he'll be back. So let's give him 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Meanwhile, maybe you can be writing down. You can jot down any question you have in the chat, or an insight, something you've learned, just anything to keep the conversation going before our speaker is able to rejoin. Maybe as we wait for our speaker to rejoin the meeting, maybe I can communicate a thing or two. For one, the people who reached out to me of the referral for Cyber Shija program, you can expect the emails to this week, not today. It has ended this week, by the end of this week. If by any chance you don't receive an email or any communication from Cyber Shija, please reach out to me. And also for anyone maybe who joined us the first time, we are happy to host you if you're on call and you'd love to share something on a day like today. You can be okay. Like my audible now, Maria.
Yes, but a little soft.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Is it better now?
Yes, we can at least hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I was saying before maybe our speaker rejoin, I can communicate a thing or two. First of all, the people who reached out to me over the referral for Cyber Shija program, you can expect the communication to be made this week. If by any chance you don't receive communication from Cyber Shija by the end of this week, please do reach out to me. Maybe I'll just write down my email in the chat. That's one. Two, if you are on call and you would love to be a trainer or a speaker, you can be a professional, you can be a student, and you would love the SheHacks to host you on a day like today or on Thursday at the same time, 7 p.m. You can also reach out to me via my email. So I'll just write that down right now. Yeah, as you give the speaker maybe 2 more minutes for him to rejoin. And thank you so much, guys, for joining today's call. Also, okay, just a highlight that this year we will be having physical events. So, and we're hoping to have them like countrywide. So, even if you're not in Nairobi, we'll definitely have something for you. So, yeah, we think all that will be communicated. You can maybe we'll communicate all that through our social media platforms at SheHacks KE, SheHacks Kenya, I think across all platforms. And yeah, once you communicate, we'll definitely reach out to you.
Hello.
Hi Joshua. Okay, I hope I'm audible. So Joshua, I
Yes,
hope
you
you
are
can
audible.
hear us.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Well, okay. Thank you. My net just went off KSC, but I think I'm back. So let me continue. Hey, I'm very sorry about that. Uh, let me continue. First. Screen. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
So I think we'll have to move much faster because of time. So how to steal a MAC address? How to no, this is this is our hacker. This is our hacker gets into your network using MAC spoofing. Various distributions, especially Linux, you can use the MAC changer to spoof the network. For instance, now presumes that makes the router think that this MAC address belongs to him. And then now what might happen, the legitimate user's MAC address or device might be kicked off the network, and then Now the attacker will gain access of the network, or both of them might still gain access to the network resources or the internet. Most of the time, this is done by guys who want to access a network, especially to use just the internet, or do their own activities, such as you can just access a network or authenticate a network just to slow it down, Yeah. Then we have another common attack, which is the DOS, denial of service, or the DDoS attack. Now, what happens in this attack with the denial of service? An attacker using his machine will send a lot of packets, or you can say a lot of requests that will overwhelm a target. So assuming this target is our target network or a target PC that is having particular services, the attacker will send a lot of packets, numerous packets that will tend to disrupt the normal traffic that is that the server is handling or can handle at the moment while processing its request. Then with the denial of service, we have the hacker who is here. Just a bit. I've seen a question there from where? Yeah. So with the denial of service, with the distributed denial of service, this is where an attacker can use various devices. He hacks various computers. Now, these computers can be botnets or zombies. For example, you can hack a network and install a particular script in various computers, or deliver can say a virus through various to the various computers using the legitimate users' PCs. Now, what the legitimate users' PCs, they might not know that their PC is a zombie or a botnet. Now, then an attacker, for example, he can use a time bomb virus that, depending that when it reaches this particular time, then let this script run. And for example, if it's a script to flood the network, it will go, instead of an attacker now attacking the PC himself as a person, the zombies will do the work for him. Now, the common the application that is commonly seen here is the ping of death. Yeah, the ping of death. And the signs of such a network or such an attack is the network becomes slow, a server becomes slow computer performance. For example, if it's the server, then in an instance, we might have an increase in mails that the commonly spam mails that the attacker can continually send to the network. Moving on, we can have an ARP storm. An ARP storm is similar to a denial of service attack. It's similar, we can say similar, because the concept is just the same. This is where the attacker he floods the network. With the packets. For example, using a net discover tool, net discover. So what net discover does is that it sends numerous broadcast packets in a network, and if somebody requests with the technique of the ping of death, an attacker can use that technique to, for example, send a ping request of a particular size, and for example, prevent or make the ping request to continue severally before he himself can stop it. Now, the same applies to the ARP storm. It is created intentionally by an attacker from within the network. Now, we can use storm attack to get my Wireshark behaving, but it may misbehave the whole day. Although I have the link to the tutorial that a guy has done it similarly. Let me just paste the link. Oh. Can use that link. Now, I couldn't have a good time demonstrating it, Katas, but I think that guy explained poa to me a tutorial. Then you can continue with other one kidogo for the interest of time. Other tasks, they may include the network-based and evil twin networks. So sorry about that. My network. So preventions of common attacks of such networks attacks. For example, kani network admin, kama implement hizo AAA and use of access control lists, it will be much easier. It will be a step ahead. Naweza sema it's a +1. Basics inakuanga install a firewall, use proper access controls. Hiyo ni kutumia access control lists and the AAA's technique to maintain your CIA information thread. Then use of network segmentation. It is easy to manage a network that is, we can say, assuming that I am in a farm, then the farm has only one network. Managing and maintaining it might be quite difficult. So it is easy for me to manage and maintain a network that has been segmented. For example, 20 PCs or 10 PCs for every segment or for every section. Then we can use virtual private networks. We can conduct proper maintenance techniques or proper maintenance procedures. We can use captive portals. Now, captive portals is that aspect whereby instead of a user just logging into a Wi-Fi, entering the Wi-Fi password, you can create your own portal that a user, instead of just logging into the Wi-Fi, the user, once he has connected to the Wi-Fi, is redirected to a login portal where he'll have to enter their username and passwords for them to access the network. Then strong passwords, that's a common ABC. Then I think I'm done. I think I'm done. Sorry, network imeleta chini kidogo, but I think all is well. So with the time that I had, I think I gathered that. But if there's any question or clarification, I can at least try to figure out or give a helping hand. So So my presentation ends there. Back to you, Nancy. Yeah, back to you, Nancy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Joshua. I think, don't worry about it. I think it sort of happens anyway. So unless there are questions, I think now we can take the questions. There was actually a question, Joshua, when you had left the meeting. Joseph had asked, how can attacker know a MAC address of a device without the main router? That was his question.
Without, pardon?
Okay, let me read it for you once again. He asked, how can attacker know a MAC address of a device without the main router?
I can't get the main router, like, for example, without connecting to the network.
Joseph, maybe if you're on call, you can clarify on that, because I think also I don't clearly get the question. So Joseph, maybe you can clarify that if you're on call. Oh yeah, you're on call. So maybe there's another question. It's been quite the amazing session. Thank you so much, Joshua, for taking time to take us through today.
Welcome.
Yeah. So if maybe there are no more questions, we can come to a close. So thank you.
Okay, for example, like I can, pardon?
Hi guys. Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. So to add to maybe Joshua's question. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, you are saying something.
Yeah. So I'm asking, how do you get the MAC address of another device, provided you're connected on the network?
Okay, I think it will be much easier. Actually, that way it is much easier because, for example, if you're in monitor mode and you're scanning through a network, then you'll actually get the details of the device, that is the MAC address. And if your wireless adapter or your network adapter, it is it is in monitor mode. Ukiscan network, then it will definitely display all the interfaces and their IP addresses. So when it displays the interfaces, it will also display their MAC addresses. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, thank you so much, Joshua, for making time to share with us today. We'll be very happy to have you once again. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone else, for joining in and staying throughout the session. I hope it was insightful. You can revert in case there's something you'd want to listen to again. This is live on YouTube, which you can also revert on our YouTube channel at SheHacks Kenya. We also have all other previous sessions that we have done. Streamed live, so you can revert if you need to. So thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone. See you on Thursday for another engaging session. Good night.